welcome back to Behind the Line. I'm Bob, and yes, I am active law enforcement. I'm going to have a few little rules here when I do these little YouTube channels slash podcast things or whatever. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, so I apologize if I come off weird or strange. I really don't know what I'm doing. Yes, I am active law enforcement. I intend to have more people join me as guests. This is my first technical episode, if you will, and the rules are I'm not going to tell you where I work or what department. Now, of course, you'd be like, oh, well, how do I know if you're real? If you're a cop, you'll know. Trust me, you know other cops when they talk. If you're not, you're just going to have to have faith. You put your faith in people who put your brakes into your car every day, and you put your faith in fast food industries and other shitheads that affects your life. So have faith. But no, a lot of your departments do not allow us to talk about them as we're speaking, even in an off-duty capacity. So they could use that to terminate us. That's almost always across the board. You might have a small town sheriff that doesn't care. I don't work for a small town sheriff. I do work for a large department. I do work in a blue state, all right, which is definitely it affects the way you're policed. I promise you. We'll do that as a video at some point in time as well. There's my alarm going off. I'm going to try and keep this episode down to something manageable for my first episode. But the first episode's topic is going to be public servant. What the hell does that term mean to you, and what does it mean to the police? I think it's something real simple that we can go with, because I think anybody would be able to go with this and be okay with it. All right, let's talk about it. Public servant. The term is true. That's what we are. Firefighters, paramedics, anybody who gets tax money to provide a service is a public servant. However, for some reason, people have it in their heads that means we do anything for you. We'll spit shine your shoes. We'll take out your trash. We're going to talk about that here. We'll talk. We'll do all kinds of stuff. And I say that. All right, go fuck yourself. All right. Now, I know that sounds harsh and brazen, but I was called brazen. What was it called? What was the term that my sergeant called me? Oh shit. No, it wasn't my sergeant. Anyway. I can't think of it. I'll remember it later. A new guy called me this. It was a phenomenal term, and I can't remember what it was. Abrasive. That was it. Yeah, Mark, if you can hear me, go fuck yourself. We were on a call, brand new guy, and he's just like, you're abrasive. It was hilarious. Anyway, I'm going off the rails here. Anyway, so public servant. Public servant is a term that's similar to the term tradesman, right? A carpenter is a tradesman. An electrician is a tradesman, right? A guy who blacksmiths is a tradesman, right? A police officer is a type of tradesman, also known as a public servant. There's also firefighters. There are emergency management agents. Marshals, U.S. Marshals. They're all part of a larger label called a public servant. They're paid by the taxes to do a job. And some reason, usually this is rich towns. Not always. They will take out your trash while you're on vacation. I think that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. I know that it's done. I know to the homeowner that's like, oh, that's just great, that's wonderful. That's what I do. If you hear pings, I apologize. That's my Discord going off. A cop checking someone's trash to me is the biggest slap in someone's balls. All right, our trade is to go out there enforcing laws. Okay, we're looking for crime, we're patrolling, and we are looking for laws that are being broken. And we can't do our job if we're taking out your trash. And to any police chief out there, if you're listening to this, if you okay that, I get it. You got a mirror that tells you what to do. All right, be a man and tell that mirror to fuck off. All right, I'll tell you why. Because that's a bullshit thing to do. You don't do that to people. You don't do that to your people. They got better things to do. They don't need to be going around taking you. I had a buddy of mine who left his job in law enforcement to become a garbage man. All right, they start at like $44 an hour. $44 an hour. Okay, most departments don't start their police off at $44 an hour. They get state funds and they get grants from the federal government because they are a hazardous material waste handler. Okay? And they make millions on us just to go up to your driveway, pick up your trash, and dump it. Make those fucking guys take out your trash. Be a man and tell that mayor, listen, we got other things to do. All right, if you care, if you're not a company man and you're not worried about getting off merit, go out there and tell this guy, hey, do your goddamn job. All right, there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse. We're not for that. That's not what we do. All right, we don't go around taking trash out. We don't go fixing their doors. We don't go out there fixing their plumbing. We don't go out there, changing oil on their cars. We're not that kind of public servant. We are a public servant to assist them with anybody breaking the law. Also, too, giving people rides. All right, I've heard this too. All right, at one point in time, my department is at least kind of cool with this. You get these homeless people just using cops. They'll call 911 to call a cop, and then, I need a ride. And I remember one time I was working on the west side of my police department, and this asshole went from one end of the department to the other, of the jurisdiction to the other. It's gigantic, because he's calling cops from different jurisdictions, and they're just giving him a ride. Oh, yeah, we'll just give him a ride. Like, no, stop that. That's not what we do. We don't give people rides. Now, some people would argue with me. They'll say, "Oh, yeah, trash is fine. I make a lot of money, and giving a ride is good." Is it? We work in our cars 90% of the time. Okay, now, true. Now, if the guy wants a ride with me, he's gonna get pat down. I'm gonna go through his shit. That's how it is with me. If I do give a ride, like, dude, give me your bag, give me your jacket. I'm going through it all. If they say yes, fine. If they say no, get the fuck out of here. Go call another department. I'm not going to do that. I'm not your taxi. All right, we're not a taxi service. Okay? I work in a blue state, and the laws that have been put in place nowadays put so much liability on us. Okay? That putting anybody in the back of my car besides a criminal, it's too much it's too much. It's just too much. Okay, it's liability. The liability is too high now. All right, if you've ever been in the back of a squad, they're very tiny in the back. It's a cage. They can get hurt. Okay, you get hit by a car. Okay, they get hurt. That's something the department has to deal with. All right, I think nowadays it's just too much. Now, if you work in a red state where you got real judges, who actually, look at cases and don't, just give money away to shitheads all day, then yes, maybe you get away with doing that more often. I wouldn't even do that in a red state. Get the hell out of my car. This car is not here for you. I'm not your Uber driver. Call an Uber. We're here for a specific purpose. On top of that, I was talking about vacation. All right, there is a gaggle of YouTube videos out there right now that you could go look at of homeowners being shot by cops, or cops being shot by homeowners, or both, because the homeowner doesn't know who's at their house at 3 a.m. moving trash cans, and they got their gun in their hand. Not everybody's on vacation. So some people, it's staycations. Okay? Stop that bullshit already. That's horseshit. There's no reason. If you're a police chief listening to this and you make your guys do vacation checks, if you really care about liability, because you don't care about the cops. No, you don't. You go. All right. Don't don't give me that bullshit that you care about your cops, okay? Most of your chiefs that get there, they didn't get there by being great to their fellow cops. They got there for, you stepped on their dicks to get into their positions, okay? Tell your mayor, hey man, for at least for the purposes of liability, don't take out trash from homes for vacation. Get that shit out of your policy, all right? And if you make them do that, go f*** yourself. That's the way I look at it. There's no reason for you to go out there and make your guys be trash men because your department happens to be in a wealthy town and nothing happens. You're not, you don't have to worry about anything like that. It's bullshit. It's what it is. It's bullshit. All right. So for the citizens out there that call on your law enforcement to take out your trash, this is why cops are pissed, man. Think about being part of a career 20, 30, almost 40 years in, and you're taking trash out, man. That's not your career. All right? Call your local garbage man. Tell him, hey, we'll pay him extra money or whatever. Go grab my shit and be done with it. Stop with that bullshit already. Okay? Some people argue with me. They'll say, oh, well, it makes it look like they're home and it reduces crime. Who gives a shit? Police don't stop crime. Think of crime as a kettle. All right? You got that kettle with the water boiling over. All we do is keep the lid on it. You're not going to stop crime. You're definitely not going to stop crime by taking out trash. All right? If people want to rob your house or break in or do what, they're going to do it. They don't care. In some cases, they don't even care if the cop's down the street. Okay? Which brings me to my next point. Some of you local police departments out there who check doors of businesses. All right? Again, this is all tying into public servants, right? I see it all the time. Thank God my department doesn't do this, and I wouldn't do this. I'd probably lose my job. Again, cops are going out there, and they expect the police officers to check business doors. Who are you as a police officer to check anybody's private property? Just answer me that question. Are you going to people's homes and checking their homes to see if they're locked? You going up to their car doors in the driveways? Are you checking all those doors? No. Why? Let me ask you a question. Think about it. If you're a cop right now, all right, and you see, and you're checking doors on businesses, which is private property, mind you, why aren't you doing that for people's homes? Why don't you do that while they're home? Do you see a liability in that? Just like I was talking about with taking out trash. There is an archive of videos of cops going out there, checking doors, and getting shot. And I hate to tell you this, a lot of people live in their businesses. Yes, for those of you who are, who aren't police officers, yes, there are people that live in their businesses. They pay the rent. They have all their business there. They set up a bed and a bedroom. I worked up north on my zone, my jurisdiction, for about 2 years. And up north, at the tippy top, there is a big, giant business park, and they lived there. The folks that worked there lived there. They did it for it was 15 years, right? They lived there. Then they did granite, countertops. So if I'm going around their property checking doors, right, and they don't know what's going on, and they have a right to defend themselves, and it is a dwelling, right? It is the definition of a dwelling, okay? There's a chance you could get shot as a police officer or be shot. Stop checking doors. Unless a brick is through the window, an alarm's going off, or the door is pried open, there's no reason for anyone to be checking doors. It's private property, man. If you're not checking people's home doors, you shouldn't be checking their doors. And garage doors, I don't check on that either. I don't care if it's 3 or 4 in the morning. I don't go up to houses at garage doors, not because I'm lazy, because again, you're going up there, this guy's been snorting coke all day or drunk as hell, and you knock on that door at 3 in the morning and you scare him or startle him, and there's a gunfight, there's a liability there. And again, I work in a blue state, which means that my liability on me is worse, right? Think about that. If you're a cop, if you're one of my brothers or sisters out there and you're checking these people's homes, be mindful of what you're doing out there. Okay? Think twice. Think really good about this. If it's private property, and don't here, and I get it. Here, as a police officer, you don't want to have crime pop up and you have to have that late report. I get that, right? Sometimes I see something, hey, you want to stop it in its butt before it gets to be a problem. But I guarantee you, if you cause some kind of liability issue, or if you shoot a homeowner because you saw a person with a gun in the house and it happens to be a homeowner, I promise you that'll be a lot worse. I'd rather take there's a stolen car. I'd rather take the stolen car than report than having to sit down with IA and having to figure out what's going on. Why is there a shot homeowner, in the neighborhood, right? The garage doors, man. The businesses, if they need you, they'll call you. If the alarm goes off, do what you got to do. If there's a rock through the door, through the glass, do it. And for those of you that don't do police work, this is what we deal with every day. These are things that we have to figure out. It's not an issue of doing it, right? There was a time where a police officer would do these things and not have a problem because they had support from their local political offices, and they would have the state behind them. You had judges that were no nonsense. Nowadays, when you're living in a blue state, and politics has a lot, and I'm going to do a video on politics for sure, when you do things in a blue state, literally everything has to be accounted for. You have to really do a heart-to-heart with yourself and with your family. You got to think about your family. Every day is a struggle because I have to think about what I'm going to do next. If I have to go to that call, what am I going to do that's going to be the least amount of liability at all times? And some people will argue, say, well, you have to do that every time. Not always. Sometimes you have bad days. You don't think about stuff like that, or the situation's so crazy or hectic, right? But here's a situation that's not crazy or hectic, and that is the public servant's job of taking out trash or checking doors. Is the liability too much? Is the liability too much to deal with? That's all I ask. I can't answer that question, only you can. But what I will tell you what police officers are there for, we are there to provide a service, and that's the patrol, right? If you're a patrolman, you provide a service to patrol your area, to keep eyes on. I would rather keep eyes on your business than to stop my patrol and check the individual doors so that the business park down the street gets hit by some bullshit burglars. I'd rather be driving my car around the area to keep to spot that suspicious vehicle than to wait for something to happen. I do work midnights, so for me, I've worked midnights my damn near whole career. I love it. My GPS is always constantly moving. I'm constantly moving. I got so many miles on my car. I would rather drive and trash all my cars, knowing that I've checked all my areas and I'm not just checking doors. All right. I'm not giving rides to idiots who don't want to buy an Uber. All right. I would rather be out there doing the true public service, and that is providing a service of keeping my eyes open for suspicious things. I know that's a long rant, but it doesn't get said enough, I think, and people don't understand that we're not there just to do whatever public servantly wise. If you're hurt, you call the paramedics. If you've got a fire, you call the fire department. If you want somebody to check your doors, call a security guard. Hire a security guard. Spend the money. All right. My job is to be paid to go and look for things happening in the now. But I'm not stuck on just your property and your trash and your little universe that revolves around you alone. Mine is the entire jurisdiction that I am assigned to, the zone or area that I am assigned to. And people don't seem to understand that. I think a lot of the stress that comes from the police world is that people don't understand what our job is. a cop goes through all this crap all day. He comes home. Unless your spouse is a cop, which I don't know why anybody would marry another cop. That's a personal thing. But you have a spouse who doesn't understand, unless they're a nurse or another cop. So you go home, you deal with this crap, and then on top of that, things happen. You get some drunk at a bar, you got to fight some guy in a park somewhere, and then you go home and you got to deal with all the stress. And dealing with the stress, you have to then do stupid shit like taking out trash. This is why I made that rant and rave about chiefs. Sheriffs can do whatever they want. They're publicly elected, but I don't know any sheriff's departments where they send their people out to pull trash. And if they do, shame on that sheriff. I wouldn't vote for him. But most of your chiefs out there, if you're making your guys do stupid shit like that, either you've lost your way. All right, I guarantee you, the 40 years ago, before you became a chief or whatever, you didn't do any of that shit. You were kicking ass and taking names, and now you got these people taking out trash. Get out of here. You don't care about these people. That's something your mayor wants, and you're just not stepping up to your mayor. Retire already. Tell that guy to go fuck off. All right, retire and be done with it. The stress that we deal with as a profession, and then dealing with this and the politics of taking out trash, it's just disgusting. It's too much. And people don't get it. And so next time you see a cop and you wonder, why are cops assholes? Or why? Because they're doing stupid shit like this. They're doing stupid stuff that they shouldn't be doing. It's not part of their gig. No, they're not. Public servant doesn't mean man, boy, servant bullshit. All right, it's just we're there to do a job, and for some reason, politics has gotten in the way of us doing our job. It stops us from doing what we need to do, so that a mayor can get reelected because he's got the police taking out the trash and checking our doors and taking on more liability. I will tell you something right now. Being a police officer is the strangest job in the world. It really is. Because it's the only job I know that you can do everything right and still lose everything. Right? Like I said, you can do everything right. Here you are doing what the department wants you to do. You're taking out the trash. You're taking that guy down the street in your car, and then something bad really, really happens. Right? Something really, really bad happens where you have to shoot somebody or hurt somebody, and and I guarantee you that chief is not going to be there for you when that happens because you were taking out the trash. He's not going to say, well, that's our job. I do approve the trash. Like, no. They're going to tell you, no, he just didn't follow the department's training guidelines and blah, blah, blah. You know how that works. All right? If you have a union, if you have any kind of way of fighting back on stupid stuff like this as a police officer, I would. If you're a civilian and you care about police, if you even care, go to your town hall meetings and tell them, stop doing that stuff. That's ridiculous. Make the police patrol. Keep them on the road. Keep them looking out for the bad guys. That's what you want. That's what they're supposed to do, and that's what you need. Right? All right. That's my first rant. I know I did a lot of swearing and cursing, but you know what, though? That's what we do. It's a ventilation system, right? There's so much stress out there. First episode, I think, is pretty good. I have to edit this, but then once I'm done editing, taking out the swears, because, people are pansies nowadays, we're going to go ahead and then put it out there. And please, comments, like, subscribe. If this channel is something that interests you, please like and subscribe, and then I will make more. It just encourages me to make more. It lets me know that what I'm saying is people want to hear, and then I'll keep going. All right, guys, you have a good one, and I will talk to you next time.